We need to talk about what happened on Saturday. So, in a deliberate act of mass defiance, all these supporters of Palestine Action, which is now a proscribed terrorist group, broke the law. They went down outside Parliament, big demonstration, and they said, I support Palestine Action. There they all are. That is breaking the law. That also means that they've broken a very serious law, potentially. They haven't been convicted yet. But if they get convicted, they're convicted of a terrorist assault, a terrorist crime. And that means that under our legal system, they sort of have to go to prison. Now, there were 522 people got arrested on Saturday. I'm wondering whether we can expect Keir Starmer, two-tier Keir, to send the same message he did after the post-Southport protest last summer. In other words, stage a repeat performance by sticking all these defiant demonstrators into court double fast and then chucking them into jail for grotesquely disproportionate sentences, to say, if you do this, you have been warned. I mean, most of these people are horrendously middle class. Loads of them very old, you know, a bunch of middle class librarians, accountants, turning into counterculture warriors come the weekend. But 522. Now, if these people, they've got to get them into court, and these are very serious offences. These are terrorist offences. What do you think the government's going to do?
Well, it's a real dilemma for them, because unless they follow through with their threats, then it's just going to fuel all the claims, which are well substantiated already, of two-tier policing. I mean, this is the single largest set of arrests at one event
since the poll tax, yeah.
Since the poll tax. And look, I don't really like or savour the spectacle of people like those shown in the pictures there. I mean, I think they're Muppets, okay? I mean, they're just idiots. They're completely wrong-headed, and there's probably something worse than Muppetry about it. But are they terrorists? No. I mean, they're not terrorists, are they? But what they were doing is just testing the boundaries. And it was really important that the government, I suppose any government, proves a point. You know, if you prescribe a group, as happened in this case, which basically means you outlaw it, and then people defiantly gather in support of that group, then you've got to do something. Otherwise, you make a nonsense of your ability to prescribe things that are even worse than this particular organisation. So it is a real test. The government must have known it was coming. You know, there were plenty of preparations for mass arrests. In some ways, I'm glad that those mass arrests happened for the principle that I just set out there. On the other hand, you're kind of left looking at these ridiculous old ladies with their hats.
Old ladies, yeah. There's so many old ladies. What is it about old ladies that they're so big into Palestine Action?
I had a BBC audience of them on Friday night. I was on BBC Radio 4's Any Question. Basically, the entire audience seemed to be those people. And when I stood up for Israel's act of complete necessity rather than, you know, vengeance, of trying to bring the situation in Gaza to some kind of end state, you know, pretty much 98% of that audience that looked like those old ladies there basically booed. You know, these people they're not rational. You know, they're just wearing this cause as a kind of do-gooding fashion.
Halo polishing middle class virtue signaling. Absolutely.
Let's see how they get on. But
if Isabel, though, if he approaches this mass defiance of the law in the same way as he approached last summer's riots, which was similar in effect, really, the only thing he can do, if he's to be consistent, is to say, take out of this 522, about 50 of them, and send them straight to jail. And I bet you he doesn't do that because he sympathises with their sympathies, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll do it because his own colleagues in the parliamentary party and his own aides and senior Labour Party spin doctors and strategists will go bonkers if he does.
Yeah, because it's against their creed. It's going to be too.
I don't want to see it any more than I wanted to see Lucy Connolly banged up. But you can't have one rule for one and one for another.
Yeah, but you can in Keir's two-tier Britain.